Hey everybody, in this video I will be starting the second advanced site plan, and I'll get to probably a pretty good stopping point, but I'm not going to finish this entire thing tonight. I'm going to start it, show you how to get going, and then let you finish it for your assignment, okay? So this is the second advanced site plan, and there's really one specific reason that I wanted to show you this, because there are a couple of tricky points in it, so I just wanted to point those things out to you, okay? So the first thing, I just want to look at the site plan before I begin, okay? And of course we first started our starting point, and I'd like to look at this and kind of think through it before I begin because it really determines how I'm going to draw it, okay? So if I start here and I move this direction to draw, my bearing is northwest, which is actually kind of this direction, right? So if I were to start here and start drawing these, I would be drawing this direction, which isn't quite correct. However, if I kind of draw all the way up here and go across here and come down and move over, if I move in this direction, then that northwest direction would make sense, okay? So if I start here and I move in this direction, will be moving northeast, which is that direction, and things seem to make sense, okay? One thing I do want to point out, and I've said this several times and you may or may not have picked up on it, is that these bearings, northeast can be the same thing as southwest, okay? So northeast is this direction, southwest is this direction. All right, so one thing that I want to include in that same topic is that if I change the north to a south and I change the east to a west, I can create this identical line, but instead of going from here to there, it will go from there to here, okay? So I say that because in this exercise there is one line that when you draw it, it goes the total wrong direction, okay? And I'm pretty sure it's this line, the C22 line. So this one is a northwest line. So if I northwest is obviously, it's going to be moving in this direction, northwest, okay? And I think this one actually, sorry, northwest is that direction. Northwest is that direction. And so if I draw this line, right, the C22 line, this one right here, this one right here, and it goes northwest. I start here and it goes that direction. So I could either sub out the north for a south and the west for an east, or I could draw the line and I could move it into place, okay? So I'm going to just show you quickly. I'm going to get to that point, and then I'm going to keep going. All right, so I'm going to start a new drawing, of course. I like to start with a brand new blank drawing for this assignment, and I do have to create a couple of layers. So let's look at this real quick. Use a border 2 line for the property boundary. So this line is border 2. Use a hidden line type for the property setbacks. Use a continuous line for the road. Okay. And so we're going to create a couple of layers for this. We're going to need the property boundary. We're going to need the easement or the offset line, the setbacks, and then we're going to need a chord. Okay. So I come here, layer properties, and I'm going to create a new layer, and we're going to call it C-PROP. Enter. And the property line was going to be a border 2 line type. So I'm going to change the property line color to red. Okay. And the line type is not continuous. It's going to be border 2. So I'm going to load that. And I'm going to come down to border 2. And I'm going to hit OK. There we go. And so it's the right color, and it is a continuous line type. Okay. Let me move this over, hopefully just a little. There we go. Okay, new layer C-PROP set back. Okay, enter. So that's going to be this inner line here. I'm going to click on the red, and I'm going to change that to cyan. Okay, and it is going to be a dashed line type. Oh, it looks like my property line didn't actually get the border, so I need to click on that, hit OK. Now there we go. Continuous, I want to load. We're going to come down here and look for dash. There we go. Okay. Dash. Okay. There we go. And one more for my chord. So C-property-CHRD chord, enter. So that chord is going to be a white color in this instance, and it's going to be dashed, and that's good. Okay, so I'm going to draw my property boundary first. So I'm going to click on property line, close that out, and it looks like it starts at 0.00, and then it, like we discussed before, it's going to move in this northeastern direction. So L for line, enter, and this one I think I'm going to try a polyline for this one actually. So I'm going to click on polyline here, and I'm going to type 0, 0, enter. The reason I want to do a polyline is because I know that, again, because I have this setback in here, I'm going to have to offset this outer line, and if it's a polyline and it's all continuous, that makes that offset really easy. Okay, so I'm going to try and use a polyline, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I can try. So I'm going to type at 183.580 at an angle of north 29 degrees 56 minutes 4 seconds east. Enter. Great. So I have my first line, and I'm having a hard time with my limit happening, so I'm going to immediately have to hit escape and zoom out. So my polyline is immediately broken, but that's okay. I'm going to type PL, enter, and start my polyline again here. Now this is a little bit confusing, but I think once I remind you what you need to do, then it's going to make sense. But curves have to be drawn. You have to draw a chord line first, and then you draw the arc curve second, or after you're done with the drawing, okay? Just like we did on our first exercise here with these lines, right? We drew this chord, which defined the beginning and end point of the curve, and then we used the radius to draw the curve, okay? So even though it doesn't show it, there's going to be a chord that you draw for each one of these curves, okay? There's 1, 2, 3 of them. Another thing I want to point out is we have those 3 curves, which means 3 chords, and then we have to draw one line here, and then there's another chord there that we have to draw. Okay, I just want to point that out. Okay. All right, so my C22, it is 67.42, let's see, at 67.424, and it's north 70 degrees. Okay, north at 67.424 at an angle of north 70 degrees 33 minutes 55 seconds west. Enter. Okay, so what happened here is just what I was illustrating before I started this exercise, and that is that when I created that line, it went northwest, which is that direction, and that did work. Okay, this line is still correct, but it went in the wrong direction. So there's a couple of different ways I can fix this. I can move this, so I can type M for move, grab it, hit enter, and I can move it right there, and it still works. Okay. The other thing I could do is I could draw it instead of northwest, I could draw it as if it were going southeast, okay? So L for line, enter. I'm going to initiate my point. I'm going to type at 67.424 at an angle of south instead of north, 70 degrees, 33 minutes, 55 seconds east. Okay, so I did the exact same input. I just changed the north to south and the west to east. Okay, I'm going to hit enter, and you see that it was correctly drawn. Okay, so either way is completely valid. All right, so I've got my C22. I have C21 next, and C21 is northwest, so it does indeed move from or it goes opposite. Northwest is this direction. Okay, so this is another one where I'm going to have to change the directionality to southeast. Okay, and that is chord 21 right there. So I'm going to change this one to southeast. Okay, L for line. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to type at 28.231 at an angle of south 85 degrees 26 minutes 27 seconds. Instead of west, it's going to be east. Enter. And my little line segment looks perfect. So my curves 22 and 21, I have achieved those. And now I have this little in-between line, and that is a southeast. So we do know that that is going in the right direction. So I'm going to type at 61.851 at an angle of south 89 degrees, 49 minutes, 0 seconds east. Enter. Perfect. I have another little segment here that's going to be at 35.937 at an angle of south 89 degrees, 49 minutes, 0 seconds east. Okay, and I have one more curve here, which is curve 20. And let's go over here and look at curve 20, southwest, so it's kind of southwest. It's going to go this direction, right? So that's another one of those where I'm going to change that to, instead of southwest, northeast. Okay, so this one I'm going to type in at 54.463 at an angle of, let's see, north 83 degrees, 13 minutes, 54 seconds east. So instead, or northwest instead of northeast, excuse me, instead of southwest. Okay, enter, and it worked just great. Okay, these you could have drawn accurately as they were, and they would have gone the wrong direction, and you would just have to move it, right? But we didn't really have a great option here, because if I would have started, for example, over here and gone this direction, it wouldn't have worked because of the northwest. So I decided to start here and go this direction, but all of these curves were opposite. So, you know, we were kind of really forced into doing something a certain way, and you know what, that's just fine. So I'll finish the outline, and then I am going to probably stop there and let you finish it. Let's see what we have here. So we have at 141.590 at an angle of south 0 degrees, 11 minutes, 0 seconds west. There we go. And we have at 90.000. Do we need 3 zeros? I don't know, but I put them in just to be accurate. At an angle of north 89 degrees, 49 minutes, 0 seconds west. Okay, and then I have at 90.000 at an angle of north 89 degrees, 49 minutes, 0 seconds west. Okay, and I have one more here, and again, it's very tempting just to kind of close this up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to type at 154.752 at an angle of north 89 degrees, 49 minutes, 0 seconds west. Enter. Okay, so that all worked out really well, and I'm just going to look at this and see we have a 10-foot setback right here, and that's going to be an easement line. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out here so we can see more of this. There we go. Now, when I click on this, you know, some of these are connected polylines, like, oh, nope, these are all lines. Actually, none of it actually ended up being a connected polyline. But I want to connect these all as a polyline because I want to then offset this line inside here, okay? So I'm going to type p-edit, enter, M for multiple, enter. I'm going to select all of my lines. When I'm done selecting, I'm going to hit enter one more time. Convert lines, arcs, and splines to polylines. Yes. We want to join them. Enter, enter, and it says that 9 segments were added to the polyline. So now when I click on it, look, they're all joined into one lovely line. I'm going to type offset, enter, 10, enter, click, click, and I have my offset. Okay. Oh, actually, you know what? Excuse me, sorry. I shouldn't have offset that just yet. I should have created my curves here first. Okay. So curve 22 has a 185 foot radius. So this is something we did last time, right? We used the arc, and it was a start end radius arc, and I clicked at the start, I clicked at the end, and I'm going to type the radius, which is 185, enter. Okay, if I started here, I ended there, it created it correctly. If I had started here and ended there, it would be on the opposite side, and then I would just have to do it the opposite way to make it correct. Okay, curve 22 right here, and I'm going to do the same arc, start end radius. Curve 21 has a 185 foot radius. So I'm going to start here, I'm going to end there, and I'm going to type 185, enter. Okay, that looks wonderful. And then my third curve is over here at the end, it's curve 20. And that has a 225 foot arc. So I click on arc again, I'm going to start here, end here, and I'm going to type 225, enter, and there's my third arc. Okay. Now, because I had joined these together, not thinking about these chords, I have these extra chords, and I'm going to trim them out of there. So TR, enter, enter, trim, got rid of it, trim, got rid of it, trim, got rid of it, okay? And I trimmed it instead of deleting because I had joined them together. If I had not joined them together using p-edit, I could have just deleted those, okay? So now this thing is not a polyline again, so I'm going to p-edit it again, enter, enter for multiple, or click on it, excuse me. I'm going to select all the objects, hit enter, yes, join, enter, enter again, and all of those lines have joined together. Okay, my setback over here is 10 feet, so I'm going to I'm going to turn my dynamic input back on so you can see my commands on my cursor, but I'm going to here we go, offset here, enter, 10, enter, click, click, and there we go. I'm going to grab this line and I'm going to change it to setback. Okay, starting to look good. And now I need to draw these lines that are still here. I need to draw the road. I need to then scale this up by a factor of 12 and print it on an 11 by 17 inch paper to PDF. Okay. Now this right here is a 30-foot offset. So if I type offset and I hit enter, and I type 30 and I offset it, oh man, that's messy because this was a polyline. I'm gonna hit undo, but I created a polyline so it would make this offset easier. Well, now I have to undo that polyline. So I'm going to explode. This is a command we haven't learned yet, but if you just type explode, enter, select an object, hit enter, it explodes that object and breaks it back down into its component pieces. Okay, so now I can use offset, enter, 30, enter, and I can click, 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 and I have my road. Okay, sorry for the little bit of background noise, guys. There's somebody in the office adjacent to me. I'm going to select this line, change it to property line, which is a solid line, and everything looks good. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. This is for the road. All right. We need to create a new layer. So I'm going to create a new layer and C-prop-ROAD, enter, and that one is not going to have a border line type. It is going to be continuous. Okay, so I grab my line there, I drop this down, I change it to road, and I have a continuous line type. Okay, so you're going to need to add these lines in here, okay, and you're going to need to print this on an 11 by 17. Of course, before you do that, you need to scale it up by a factor of 12. If you don't scale it up by a factor of 12, when you go to print it, it won't be the right scale and everything won't work the way it should, okay? You also need to set the LT scale to half the scale factor. So if that is, 1/16, it's going to be 96, okay? So LT scale 96, enter. Probably not. LT scale 192. Maybe not, right? But you're going to have to determine that when you print. So I'm going to let you do that. But I think this will hopefully help you get going on this exercise and get this looking right so that you can get 100% on your assignment. So this is going to end our second video on advanced site plan. And thank you guys.